Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name's Vicky Marie. I'm in mainland Spain, and it is just after 9 o'clock in the evening. Very sultry evening again. I mean, this is it now for about 3 weeks in Spain. That's why I'm on the avatar, because my hair's plastered to my head. It's just too hot to put makeup on or to make yourself look nice. It's too hot to put the hairdryer on. It's too hot for everything. So, thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel. Thank you to everyone who's ever liked a video, watched a video. Special thank you to all my members. And anyone who's bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super sticker, etc. Anyone who's supported my channel in any way, shape or form, thank you so much. So in tonight's video, we're going to talk about Axel. And Axel is the boy or the man, depends which way you look at it, 17-year-old boy. He will be 18 next week sometime. But he is the murderer of the 3 little angels in Southport. Let's see, let me put a picture up. So, this is really what it's all about, isn't it? We haven't, I'm hoping that the other children are all okay now. Nothing, we haven't heard of any more of them being discharged. So I think patients are normally not discharged over the weekend. So hopefully on Monday, some more of the children maybe that have been injured by this horrible man will be released. But these are the 3 that have been lost forever. Elsie, who's 7, Alice 9, and BB 6. And it's just heartbreaking. And this is why I'm concentrating on this tonight, not on, I know there's a lot of unrest and all the far right idiots that have jumped on this with that. It's totally disrespecting the memory of these girls. Because it's all about these girls and their families. And the other victims and their families, and the 2 teachers, dance teachers that were there, who, as far as I know, are still in hospital as well. We don't have details of their injuries or anything. It's about them. It's not about all the rest of it. And it is about Axel, because Axel, he's the person who's caused all this absolute chaos. And why? Why did he do it? And now we find out. He's apparently from a good family, a respected family in the area. And then we find out he was actually he was an aspiring child actor. And he was actually in a video for children in need, where he was Doctor Who. And we're going to have a look at that video. So what changed him? this is something that often intrigues me, to be honest. Because every perpetrator of evil, be it a man or a woman, at one time they were children themselves. At one time they were children. What changed them from being an innocent child, like these 3 little angels? What changed them to become so evil, that they caused so much havoc, like this boy has caused so much. I mean, it's unbelievable, really, the amount of havoc he's caused, the amount of misery he's caused. So what changed him? When did he change? And why did he change? That's what we're not going to get the answers tonight, that's for sure. But we're going to look at it and we're going to have a think about it. And can this kind of thing? So here he is, Axel. This was his drawing when he appeared in court, where he was hiding his face. But you can see from these photos underneath that somebody somewhere, and now these are off social media, so, we have to take them with a pinch of salt. They're off a Twitter account, but I think it is him. from what I can see. And he just, doesn't seem very fazed, doesn't seem very remorseful. But of course, we don't know what's going on in his head. We don't know why he did it. There's rumours of a mental health. That he had ADHD, but people with ADHD don't go off doing things like that. I mean, it's exceptional what he's done. It's, people with mental health issues quite often, maybe self-harm, maybe do harm to immediate family members, etc., or maybe a limited damage. But what this boy has done, I think, as we've said, aside from the Dunblane massacre, it's unheard of in Great Britain. This kind of viciousness on this scale, and he's so young. So, what sort of mental illness has he got? Some people are saying he's on the spectrum, but so are so many people. How many people have mental health issues one way or another, are autistic, or have ADHD, or have all of it, or have a schizophrenic? How many people, but don't do anything to this extreme level, to get in a taxi with a knife and to go off to a children's dance studio deliberately to kill these children is, to me, honestly, my own personal feeling is he's possessed by the devil, because I do believe in things like that. Somewhere along the line, some evil has got into Axel's world. Anyway, I'm going to say hello to everyone, and then we're going to start looking at this video of so he was a little boy once. He was a child. I mean, he's still a child, technically, until he turns 18. But he really was a little, I feel for his family, and I've been praying for his family, because I just don't know how that would feel, knowing that your own child had done something like that. And they must have known he had some mental health issues, but you never really would think that it would come to that. Would you? I mean, we don't know what went on behind closed doors, what his family knew about, what they didn't know about. But all I can say is I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have experienced difficulties with teenagers, with mental illness, and have worried maybe about your own safety even, because, there's a dark place that teenagers go through. I don't know what it is or why it happens, this puberty. It can be quite dark, can't it, if it's accompanied by mental health issues and maybe substance abuse or alcohol abuse. It can lead to people down some very dark roads. And this guy, he's gone down the darkest road of all, hasn't he? I mean, you couldn't get any darker than the road he's gone down. So I do feel for his family, because I just cannot imagine how they feel, and they're supposedly a Christian family, church going, a nice family. I mean, how often we hear that, but as I say, you never know what goes on behind closed doors, do you? Anyway, I'm just going to say hello to everybody before I carry on. Hope you can hear me okay. There was some sound issues earlier on today. Hi, David. Hi, Chumba. Hi, Maria. Hi, Jean. Okay, so let's have a look. Well, I think the thing is, they're not peaceful protests, are they? That's the whole problem. These are thugs, rent-a-thug, most of them. So, the police are being reactionary, and they've got to be, because these people are a threat to normal people trying to live their lives. But anyway, it'll die down. It's still hot, isn't it, in the UK? Isn't it funny how when it's hot, need a lot of rain, don't they, to cool them down or whatever, because they're just you know, the ones that are turning up are just getting out of control. But anyway, I'm not giving them any attention, I've decided, because that's what they want, is just attention, and they're just, you know, they're just thugs. I've watched it all on the TV and seen what they're doing, type of people they are. Normal people, peace loving. Most people in the UK are peace loving. They want peace and harmony. And I'm just, you know, I'm not interested in their violent talk and I'm not interested in it. Okay, so let's have a look at the video. So where did this boy, because this boy existed. So it seems at one point Axel was, you know, like a child actor. He was on a, God, what do you call it? It was in an agency for child actors. And he made, I mean, what is it with the BBC? The BBC, I thought, oh my God, you know, it's like there's always something going on at the BBC, even things, you know, they had no control over, I suppose. But they've picked this young lad for this sort of parody of Doctor Who for children in need. And what happened? It's like, is the BBC some sort of place of black magic or something where, you know, people just go loopy if they work at the BBC or something? That's how it feels to me at the moment. Because there he was, just a young lad, sort of seems. Well, let's watch the advert.
It's that time of year again. You could even dress up as every Doctor Who ever did.
Do your thing for children in need.
I mean, it just makes you go cold, doesn't it? Children, especially children in need, and he's killed children. I mean, you know, there was something that occurred to me, and I thought, has he deliberately done this just before he turns 18? It seems strange that he's done it just, you know, has he been thinking of doing it? You know, it's grown like an obsession in his head. Supposedly he has an obsession with knives, but again, you know, these are things that we don't really know. They're sort of rumours. As he wanted to do it, and then as he sat down and thought, hang on a minute, I'm going to be 18 in a week. Has he cynically thought, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now while I'm 17, because that will reflect on his sentence. I don't think he'd be coming out, whatever, to be honest, just because of the severity of what he's done. But there is always a different criteria, isn't there, for someone who's under 18? And it occurred to me, I thought, has he cynically done that? Just seems a strange coincidence that just a week before he's 18, he suddenly does it. Or is that nothing to do with it? You know, maybe that's just coincidence. You know, maybe it's, you know, he hasn't done it deliberately because he was still 17. Just something that occurred to me.
It's that time of year again. You could even dress up as every Doctor Who ever did.
Do your thing for children in need.
Do your thing for children in need. And I mean, the thing is, this is what we always have to, you know, every, you know, even Ted Bundy, the Moors murderers, all the worst people that you can think of, Dennis Nielsen, Jeffrey Dahmer, they were all children once. What happened to them? Were they born like that? You know, is it something, are people born bad? You know, with something missing? I sort of do think they are, personally, because all the things they're going to come out with this boy, you know, that he's ADHD or autistic or whatever. There's millions of people out there that have got ADHD or autism or both, or they're even schizophrenic or whatever. They don't do things like this. But sometimes I do feel, are some people born just with some darkness in them, you know, some evil in them? To me, it seems logical, but I don't know. You'll let me know what you think, I'm sure.
It's that time of year again. You could even dress up as every Doctor Who ever.
Do your thing for children in need.
So this clip has been removed from the BBC. It was on the BBC archives. So the BBC has removed a video of a teenager accused of murdering 3 girls in Southport after it emerged. Actually, I'm just going to come back to the chat. Did you hear that? Okay. Because there were some problems with the sound earlier. Could you hear it okay? Hi, Jean. Hi, Seffi. Hi, Heather. Good. Yeah, because the sound was weird on the video that I did earlier, and I don't know why, because I could hear it okay because I was commentating on the video, but it didn't the sound didn't come out on the video. Okay, so yeah, the BBC has removed a video of a teenager accused of murdering 3 girls in Southport after it emerged he starred in a Children in Need advert. And a spokesman for the BBC Children in Need said the clip was removed across all platforms out of respect for the victims. First of all, I don't believe that for a minute. The BBC haven't removed that clip because it's out of respect for the victims. They've removed it because they're embarrassed about it. It's nothing to do with the victims. They've removed that clip because it's an embarrassment for the BBC. I'm just wondering who actually does care about the victims. You know, all the things that are going on and that, and you think, where all the attention should be on those girls and the other victim. There shouldn't be anything else going on, and nobody, you know, the people that say that they care, they do not care. They do not care because they're just using it for their own means, for their own agenda, for their own political agenda, for their own narrative that they want to put over. It makes me really angry. Our deepest sympathies go out to everyone impacted by this shocking case. Yeah, anyway, a now deleted clip promoting the charity from 2018. Axel Rudakabana is seen leaving the TARDIS dressed as the Doctor, wearing a trench coat and a tie that makes him look like the show's former star, David Tennant. So he was 11 years old on that picture, so he's quite tall, isn't he? And then 11-year-old Rudakabana tells viewers it's that time of year again before offering advice on how best to raise money. So I think it's puberty that changes. It's this teenage phase. It's a dark time for most kids, I think. You know, there's not many people just, whiz in and out of their teenage years, is there? Without any problems. And we'll remember our own teenage years, but even more we'll know when our children went through teenage years. I think that's when you really get to think about what it's like being a teenager. Because, of course, when you're a teenager and you're going through it, you're so self-obsessed, because teenagers are self-obsessed. That's almost part of the hallmark. They can only really, it's difficult to think about anyone but themselves, and that's just the way it is. So you probably don't realize when you're actually a teenager the things that you're doing or saying. Your parents become suddenly change from being the most important thing in the world to being the least important thing in the world. Your friends become the most important thing in the world. Your parents don't know anything. They're just trying to stop you having a good time. And, that's where all your sort of teenage aggression comes out. And, it's not a very nice time, is it? So 11 is about, I think it's about that. Well, I suppose it depends when they hit puberty, but each child is different. But I just wonder if Axel, you know, if it was when he hit 13, when he became a teenager, is that when his mental problems started? Is that when he started being difficult? If he did, you know, he could have been a perfect son for all we know, because that's something else that often happens. You know, when kids do go out and do these things, sometimes the parents have just been oblivious to the way they are. Now, I don't think that in Axel's case. I expect the parents have had a lot of problems with Axel. He's probably rebelled, and if he had this knife obsession, etc. But you know, if you are a parent who's had these kind of problems with your child or anyone in your family, you'll know how difficult it is to cope with. It's not easy. It's not easy to cope with mental illness in your family. You know, your teen's mental illness is, you know, I won't wish that on someone's worst enemy to cope with. It's horrible. Anyway, it's understood that he was found for the video through a casting agency, and he had nothing to do with any children in need projects. He appeared on Liverpool Crown Court on Thursday, charged with the murders of Alice da Silva Aguiar, 9, BB King, 6, and Elsie Dot Stancombe, 7. He is also charged with the attempted murders of yoga class instructor Leanne Lucas, businessman John Hayes, and 8 other children who cannot be named for legal reasons, and with possession of a kitchen knife with a curved blade. Despite being under the age of 18, Judge Andrew McNenery Casey lifted reporting restrictions that had prevented the naming of Rudakabana on Thursday. He said this was necessary to stop the spread of misinformation after a false name circulated online had led to disorder and violence on the streets of Southport. A plea and trial preparation hearing for Rudakabana has been set for the 25th of October, with a provisional trial date lasting 6 weeks, scheduled for 20th of January next year. 20th of January next year before the trial. But anyway, so the next time he'll be in court will be the 25th of October. It's quite a long time, isn't it? And I think he's in a youth, because he is still underage or just. I think he's in a youth offenders facility at the moment. You just can't imagine, can you, what they're doing with him or what he's going through. Yet they say he has autism and ADHD, apparently. Hi, Wesley. Yeah, so you just think, what changed this boy? And also, was it, you know, is he on the autistic spectrum? How many people are on the autistic spectrum but don't do things like this? How many people have ADHD and don't do things like this? So we're going to look at that. That's part of what we're going to look at tonight. So first thing I want to look at, next thing I want to look at, children in need. Just let me mention, somebody said, I think it might have been Steffi. I can't remember the last time I watched Children in Need. I think it's an absolute, sorry, all those big charities. If you watch my channel on a regular basis, you'll know I cannot be doing with these big charities. So I just had a look to see the Simon Antrobus is the CEO of Children in Need, and he earns a very meagre, compared to some other CEOs, £154,000 a year is his salary. This is like paying Hugh Edwards' salary, isn't it? You know, well, Hugh Edwards is earning more money, of course. But don't forget, Simon won't just be £154,000 and £44 a year. He'll be getting expenses. He'll have a car. He probably doesn't have to pay for anything. So, you know, he's not doing too bad, is he? And this is what makes me angry about these charities. So they're asking people who have not got much money, you know, people who are probably living on maybe £30,000 a year or even £20,000 a year, or, you know, certainly not earning £154,000 a year, asking people that are already living like on the edge to donate. But he's earning 150, you know, to pay his wages, really. Make sure you've got your wages every year, Simon, haven't you? Your 154,000. And it's like, look at the others. Look at cancer research, £240,000 a year. The CEO, Harpal Kumar, earns. British Red Cross, £173,000 a year. Mike Adamson earns. British Heart Foundation, £180,000 a year for Simon Gillespie. And we've looked at these on a video, though it was quite a while ago, but, you know, they're all there on Wikipedia, all the different Amnesty International, 210,000. Anchor Trust, whatever that is, she's earning £420,000 a year. It's disgusting. And they're asking for money. Macmillan Cancer Support, Linda Thomas, CBE, £200,000 a year. You know, it just makes me, and God, what's this Nuffield Health? What? Nuffield Health? What is it? The United Kingdom's largest healthcare charity. It operates 31 Nuffield Health hospitals and 112 Nuffield Health fitnesses and wellbeing centres. It is a registered charity. He's earning £1,229,000 a year, this Steve Gray. You know, the Prince's Trust, that's 140,000. It seems positively, you know, she's a positive pauper compared to the rest of them. Just makes me so angry, all this. St Andrew's Healthcare, £433,000 a year. St John's Ambulance, £140,000 a year. The Wellcome Trust, a charitable foundation based on health research, £445,000, 220 a year. This makes me angry, really angry. Look, the Arts Council England, he only gets £40,000 a year, but his charity turns over like much more than the others. You know, it's weird, isn't it? So BBC Children in Need, this Simon Antrobus earns £154,000 a year. The turnover is £50,000 a year. So he's earning 31% of the turnover. This is what makes I never give to big charities, ever. Never, ever, ever. I don't donate to big charities ever. You know, to me, if you want to save the children, you'd be better off finding a local family that you know is struggling, people that you know, or go and, you know, pay their food shopping for a week, or I don't know, you know, just help them out in some way. Somebody that where you know the money's going to, and it's not going to pay someone's massive salary. So anyway, drives me mad. Hi, Nick. Yeah. Just makes me mad. Yeah. Oh, well done, Wesley. Hi, Unity. Hi, Maggie. No. Okay, so just wanted to point that. That's why I don't never watch Children in Need. I wouldn't donate to children. It's not that I don't care about children in need. I do care about children in need, but I would not give any money to these big charities because they're almost grifts as far as I'm concerned, or they're almost like what's the word I'm looking for? They're like they're fake, aren't they? It's all to sort of, why are they earning those massive salaries? Anyway, I don't know, but so the fact that he was on Children in Need, you just think that just tied in with me with the corruption at the BBC, Children in Need, and it's like this sort of, I don't know, this horrible association around it all of bad things. It's like the devil is in the BBC. I know some people say that, and I know I'm sounding dramatic, but because I do believe if you believe in good, you have to believe in evil. It feels like there's bloody evil around the BBC. Sorry, we're just swapping the dogs over, so you might hear a bit of noise. Okay, so now so this is the Ology Kids casting. This is the child sort of, what do you call it? Like, let's go to the, this is the website of the child casting agency that Axel was with, when he got chosen to do the Children in Need video. So, this is based in Manchester by the sound of it, or around that area. Oh. Well, so they won't be happy because they've got this association now. So it costs between £90 and £180 for a photo session. So I suppose you go along, you have your photo session, your child's photo goes on the website, I suppose. And then when people are looking for, like when Children in Need were looking for children to do that advert, they look at these places and find the right children that they want. As an agency, we look for so much more than a pretty face. We give every child aged 3 and over the opportunity to show us how amazing they are through our assessments online. We also hold online Zoom calls with parents to provide additional details about ourselves and the industry, and offer the opportunity to ask questions. Assessments are held online via self-tapes and Zoom. So at some point, Axel or his parents or both of them have decided, he could do well as a child model or an actor, or whatever. For some reason he's got into this and he's gone on to this Ology Kids casting. He's contacted them, or his parents have contacted them, and he's done his photo shoot or whatever, and he's been chosen for that advert for Children in Need. I expect that was very exciting. I expect that was very exciting for him. And what went wrong? This is the question. Hi, Mello. I do want to be a trad wife, Unity. I'm going to do a video on trad wives. I'm very intrigued with being a trad wife, but I think I'm too old now. That's the trouble. Better to be a trad wife than to be a single parent who's, you know, trying to work, do everything, be the mum, the dad, and everything. That's what I've always had to do. So I think it'd be quite nice just to do one side of things. Would love to be a trad wife. Maybe in my next life, I'll come back as a trad wife. Oh, Wesley, we're going to do a video on a trad wife. Apparently, it's coming back into fashion now to be like an old-fashioned housewife. You know, like a trad wife is a woman who just wants to, I say just wants to stay at home, wants to look after the children in the house and everything, doesn't want to go out to work. And it sounds okay to me. As long as, you know, as long as I'm married to a millionaire, I'll be quite happy. Okay, but anyway, that's for another video. So where are we going next? So that's the agency that Axel is with. And somehow through that agency, he got picked and he went, he was picked to do that commercial. Right, let's have a look what the Daily Mail says about it all. So it's to be fair to the Daily Mail, I've got to give them a bit of credit because, you know, they're not my favourite newspaper, the Daily Mail, because obviously they're not on my sort of political leanings. But it is the Daily Mail that have been instrumental in getting Axel's name out there, which I think it's right that his name is out there because there was so much misinformation, wasn't there, and disinformation. So I think it's been good that his name is out there. And it was the Daily Mail, to be fair, had a lot to do with it. It was because they wanted to run the story, I expect, because they had found out about this. So let's have a look at this video.
It's that time of year again.
It's the video again, isn't it?
You could even dress up as every Doctor Who ever.
Do your thing for children in need.
It's that time of year again. You could even dress up as every Doctor Who ever.
Do your thing for children in need.
So the thing is, I expect the Daily Mail had found out what his name was, had probably found this video. They were probably dying to do a story on it, and they did sort of have quite a lot to do with Axel's name being released. And he does just seem like a normal kid. I expect that was a very exciting time, wasn't it? Going on Children in Need, doing the video as Doctor Who. It must have been great at the time. If only, you know, maybe it's a good job we can't look into the future, because I think sometimes if you could look into the future, you know, you'd just give up now, wouldn't you? Because nobody knew what was going to, you know, how that kid was going to turn out. Least of all him, probably at the time, and his parents. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad. Anyway, so the teenager accused of murdering 3 young girls at a Taylor Swift-themed dance event. I mean, I wonder if it'll end up being anything to do with Taylor Swift in the way of, did he hate Taylor Swift? I mean, why did he choose that particular place? You know, there will have been loads of children's events going off, probably a lot of them closer to where he lived. But he chose that particular one. So it makes you wonder, unless either he knew somebody there maybe, or maybe he really did, you know, it sounds ridiculous, but maybe he literally did not like Taylor Swift. Or maybe he didn't like Mondays, as we were talking about, because it was a Monday, wasn't it? Anyway, footage unearthed by the Mail Online shows Axel Rudakabana, then aged 11, emerging from the TARDIS in David Tennant's trademark trench coat and tie. Before urging the nation to help children by getting involved in fundraising. The clip featuring Rudakabana, filmed in Blackpool in 2018, was deleted earlier today by both the BBC and the Ology Child Talent agency that represented him. On just a little aside, that woman boxer, she's definitely going to win a medal now. She won her fight today. So we'll see what happens, but she's definitely going to get at least a bronze medal. So a source at the corporation said Children in Need has no relationship to Axel Rudakabana. The individual was contacted by the BBC for the campaign video through a casting agency in 2018 and has never had an affiliation with any of our funded projects. So this was 6 years ago. So if he's 17 now, it was only 6 years ago. So he appeared in court on Thursday, charged with murdering B.B. King, 6, Elsie Dot, sorry, that just flipped down, Elsie Dot Stankham, 7, and Alice Da Silva Aguiar, 9, at a dance studio in Southport, Merseyside. Yeah. There's Alice. Oh, that's such a beautiful photo, isn't it? I wonder if that was her communion. Well, because she's Portuguese, isn't she? So probably Catholic, but of course I'm totally speculating now. But I just wondered if that might, it looks like, well, it's either a birthday or maybe possibly a communion photo. Beautiful photo. And of course, there's Elsie Dot and B.B. King. So he's also accused of 10 attempted murders, as we know. 8 more children, dance teacher Leon Lucas, 35. Oh, and also businessman John Hayes, who ran to help at the scene. Anyway, I think the rest of it we've already gone through, but sort of quite chilling, isn't it, to see him with children as well, even though he was just a child himself. But you can see he's quite tall, isn't he? Oh, and this is the video. Let's watch the video. This is just before the attack. Yeah, when he walks up there, when he comes back, he's got his hand in his pocket. Wonder where he'd been. Had he been to get a knife or what? I wonder. Then he was pacing up and down waiting for his taxi. So he must have decided that by then where he was going to go. And then this is the police arriving later at his home. God, you imagine as a parent, you just in the house and then all the police roll up like that. You don't know, you haven't got a clue what's going on. Terrifying, isn't it? So they've been moved. He's got a brother as well, Dion. His brother's called Dion. They've all been moved out the house, haven't they, to a safe place. Hi, Admit. Yeah, you're plastered. You're plastered. Admit's plastered. I have got a little picture of the girls to pop in the corner. Oh, that's too much. Can't see anything then. There we go. Right, I've got to work out how to put that off now. Come on. There you go. Just for you, Mello. But yeah, you're right. We should always have a picture of them up. I haven't missed anybody else. Hi, Tracy. Hope I haven't missed anybody else coming in. Okay. So the talent agent. So where are we? He also told viewers you can run from John O'Groats to Land's End backwards in the promo, which featured Pudsey Bear. Oh my God, Pudsey Bear, he's the only thing that's not been contaminated from the BBC, only because he's a bloody cartoon. If Pudsey Bear was a real person, he'd probably be a child killer or a child lover or whatever. Bloody hell, Pudsey.
Officers were called to reports of a stabbing at 11:47 this morning.
Can you hear me now? Oh no, it's gone off. Probably got a... Did you get a look at me then with the... Probably got a nice view of me there, the way that I look at the moment. Am I back now? Am I back? Probably got a... Has it gone quiet again? Can you hear me now? Oh, this is... I need a new webcam desperately. You can't hear me now.
The ambulance started arriving, then it was just mayhem. It was awkward and off now. They've captured the lad.
Yeah, it's when I try and play a video. When I'm trying to play that video, the sound goes off. Oh, I don't know what to do. So you can hear me now, but then when I go to the video and try and play the video, it just goes off again. I'll try it one more time. If not, I'll have to forget the video. It's only a video that you've seen anyway.
You need
Oh, maybe.
some worse punishment for these types of things.
I want to simply say that I know the whole House will be very concerned at the extremely serious incident that has taken place.
You can hear the video. Right, I'm going to leave it on the video for a bit.
In Southport. All of our thoughts will be with the family and loved ones of those who are affected.
How can you get away with it? You just go in jail. It's the worst thing I've seen ever in my life.
The events today are just truly awful. And I know the whole country is deeply shocked at what they've seen and what they've heard. And I know I speak for everybody in the whole country in saying our thoughts and condolences with the victims, their families, their friends, and the wider community. And it's almost impossible to imagine the grief that they're going through and the trauma that they're going through.
It is with great sadness today I'm here to advise that 2 children have died as a result of the injuries sustained in this morning's knife attack. As a mum and a nana, I can't begin to imagine the pain and suffering that the families of the victims are going through at this moment in time.
The town is in mourning, town is in shock this morning. The incident that took place yesterday was uniquely horrific.
Well, I think it's just unimaginable what has happened, this devastating and horrific attack. And I think all of our thoughts will be with the families who have been affected, the loved ones who have been lost, and the children who are injured.
It's like a nightmare. The biggest horrific thing you could ever witness in your life, seeing little kids like that. and the parents coming and crying and screaming.
There would be deep distress right across the country, as well as here in Southport, for this appalling, just truly horrific attack, because it's beyond every parent's worst nightmare. You had a what should have been a children's party having fun in the beginning of the summer holidays could then turn into something so devastating. There's obviously deep concern about knife attacks across the country, and that's why the Prime Minister has said that that is a moral mission to address this.
Okay. It will only let me either show the video or talk. It won't let me do both. So it's, anyway, never mind. Okay, so what I want to look at now, I just put some windows down, is, you know, what are the, so I think that ADHD and autism don't normally lead to this sort of violence. You know, I don't think it's a, anyway, we're going to have a look. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, so I don't know. So I just looked up some information. Well, first of all, how common, because apparently the guy has ADHD and he's on the spectrum. Or it's not, now, this is what people are saying, but you know, there's been no official confirmation of this. But presume that, you know, I suppose everybody's trying to look for a reason. As human beings, I think we feel like we need to find a reason for things, don't we? You know, hi, Charlie. We just feel that we need to know why things happen. But, you know, sometimes I don't know if we're ever going to find an answer to this. I really, really don't think we are. But anyway, but it's human nature to seek an answer, isn't it? To why has this happened? How can we stop it happening again? But, you know, and the scary thing is you think, well, maybe we can't stop it happening again. You know, you can put safety things. I mean, I think the part of it, and I'm not blaming the actual dance school itself, but you know, where you've got kids like that, what have you got to do? Make them into a fortress. But, you know, sometimes you think maybe you have, because against things like this, you know, unfortunately, he just walked straight into that place, didn't he? And one of my students was telling me when he leaves his little boy at the nursery, he worries about it, because literally people go to that nursery, just reach over and unlock the door and walk in. And he'd never even thought about it before, because he was more thinking, you know, that the lock, like the handle, was high enough where the kids couldn't get out, the kids couldn't reach it. But of course, any adult could reach it. And he'd never thought of it before like that. Now he's panicking every time he drops his child off at nursery, because he's worrying that anybody can walk in that nursery if they knew how to just reach over and open the door. So what do? You know, but that's going to be a big thing, isn't it? I bet there's a lot of places, I bet there's thousands of places out there now that are reassessing how people come into their now, of course, because it was hot, maybe they had the door open. You know, you should be able to have the door open, shouldn't you? Shouldn't have to worry that some you know, scary individual's going to come in and stab all the children in your care. You know, you should be able to leave the door open when it's hot, not worry about things. But unfortunately, you can't, it seems. So I do think that's one thing that a lot of places will be looking at without any government intervention. It may be that eventually a law is passed where they have to have a certain level of security, you know. But anyway, what it's saying on you know, I'm not saying this is a reliable medical website or not. This is just, what is this? I don't know. decode is the transmitter, decoding the overlap between autism and ADHD. Autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder often coincide, but the search for common biological roots has turned up conflicting evidence. I expect it's all conflicting. So yeah, this is more, because I was looking for something that would say, is there a tendency towards aggression with children with autism or adults with autism? And is it made worse if they've got ADHD and autism? I know people who've been diagnosed with that. I know adults that have been diagnosed with both of these things, but they're not violent. You know, they're a bit obsessive. They have to, you know, but after they've had their diagnosis, then they understand themselves better and they know, you know, how to avoid sort of being triggered, etc. I don't know if there's any particular signs of violence with autism or ADHD, or the combination. Impulsivity, maybe. But the thing is, there is a connection with, people with autism can get obsessed with things, can't they? You know, like a friend of mine, her son had an obsession with dinosaurs. You know, so everything was dinosaurs. You know, when he was a kid, he was just, no. So that's a nice obsession, if you like. It's not a scary obsession, but if you developed an obsession with knives, for example, you know, would those thoughts keep growing in your head over and over again? And looking at that photo that we looked at before of him, where he seemed quite smiley in custody and things, maybe it felt great to him. Do you know, like maybe he will have no remorse. Maybe that him doing that day may have felt great because he might have been fantasizing about doing that for years, you know, obsessing over knives. You know, his thoughts were taking a very sinister turn. Maybe I am literally just chatting to you now like we're in the pub. I don't know, and I'm not an expert, and I'm just putting these thoughts out there to see what you think. I know a lot of my chatters have got autism in their families, or even children with autism, and they know more about it than me. You know, just ideas. I'm thinking, is it possible, you know, that he developed, instead of developing an obsession with dinosaurs, you know, or something like that, that he developed an obsession with knives, with dark thoughts, with sinister thoughts, with murder. You know, it just, if you're going to develop an obsession, I suppose it's just as easy for it to be something sinister as it is for not, you know. And some, I always remember the film Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman, you know, and I've known people, you know, students that I've had over the years, children and adults. I have noticed that, you know, they quite often, autistic people, when they come to learn Spanish with me, they're normally quite good at Spanish because they like logic. So if you can present it to them in a logical way, and they don't forget anything, and sometimes maybe it takes them a little while to learn, they've got to sort it in their own head. So like, how do I explain it? So I explain the Spanish to them in my way, if you like, in my method. And then they sort of, I've noticed that they sort of chew it all up in their head, move it around, and they find their way of sorting it. And once they find that, they're really good at it because they've ordered it in their own way. You know, it's a very interesting sort of condition, isn't it? And it can be positive. You know, as I say, I've had students, adult students, really good jobs, done really well, didn't do well at school, you know, didn't get any qualifications because they were too bored at school. They just couldn't sit through the classes or whatever. But then later on in life, they've made, you know, they've learned, they've made their own way anyway. without a formal education or qualifications. You know, so it's autism can mean great intelligence, can't it? Like almost genius type intelligence. But can it also mean dark obsessions? Is that what's happened with Axel? Yeah, I wondered if he had a psychosis that day, you know, and was he smoking marijuana? Because you don't know if he was, because that, if you've already got mental problems, that would not be a help. Or if he was drinking alcohol, or we don't know, do we? We don't know what he was doing at home. If he was 17, was he in education still? Or was he just sitting at home on video games all day and smoking weed? Or was he drinking all day? You know, we don't know the background, do we? But no, he should never have been allowed knives, that's for sure. But it'd be very difficult, wouldn't it? You know, it's difficult to deal with teenagers, but I couldn't have those knives in my house. But then you know what? They hide them. You say, oh, you're not having a knife in the house, but what's to stop him bringing a knife in and hiding it somewhere? You know, you can't. Just so difficult. Hi, Natalie. Yeah, Charlie, autistic people are usually very, very intelligent in, maybe not in every, but the thing that they are focused on, they're like almost genius in that, aren't they? Like Rain Man. Have you seen the film Rain Man? It's a brilliant film, isn't it? You know, and of course it was made quite a long time ago when autism, you know, I mean, years ago, people did have autism, but you just never would have seen them. They were sort of locked away, weren't they? Literally. You know, a lot of children were taken off to sanatoriums and just hidden. And, you know, it was like you know, not that long ago either. I mean, you know, I'm not talking about 200 years ago, probably talking about 80 years ago or something, or even less. You know, now autism is a recognised condition, isn't it? So that's so people get help with it and they get to understand it better. But not years ago, it would have just been, oh my God, you know, a bit of a weirdo, get him in the sanatorium. You know, so it's things have got better. I mean, I know sometimes we think society hasn't got better, but actually it has. It's just, you know, if you look back at what used to happen, things like that don't happen now. But I personally, you know, I do think there's a massive problem, as I say, in the UK from people that I know in the north. You know, my family waiting for appointments for mental health issues. Over a year, you'd have to wait. I mean, was he actually seeing anybody? Had his, you know, had it been recognised, whatever condition he's got, and was he receiving any help? Was he taking any medication? I mean, the thing about the medication as well is, you know, people who are bipolar or I mean, I don't know what medication people take for autism, but normally take a medication for ADHD, don't you? Is it Ritalin they used to take? I don't know if they still do. I'm just, you know, talking about somebody that I knew that used to take it. Maybe they don't, you know, maybe that's been poo-pooed now. I don't know. But often people stop taking the medication, don't they, when they start feeling better? You know, so I think it's like, you know, you stop smoking because you've got a cough or you've got bronchitis. And I think that's what a lot of people do, like with medication like that, with mental illness. So as soon as they start feeling better, they think, oh, I don't need this medication. And they stop taking it. And then it all goes back to square one again. Maybe that's what happened. Yeah, we're all on the spectrum somewhere. Yeah, but the thing is, David, some people, you know, they still, everyone does something for a reason. They'll have had a reason. It might be, you know, what we think is a ridiculous reason, but there will have been a reason. He won't have just done it for nothing. He's not, you know, he's woke up that morning and thought, well, I'm going to stab a load of children today. But something's made him do it. You know, something's triggered him. Could be because it was a Monday. Could be because he doesn't like Taylor Swift. It could have been the heat. It could have been he could have had an argument with his parents, could have had an argument with his girlfriend. We don't know if he had a girlfriend or a boyfriend or what. We just don't know. But normally something triggers incidents like that, even though it might be something that he'd been thinking about for a while, but something would trigger it. And that's, I suppose, what everybody will be trying to find out, because we all don't want it to happen again, do we? So let me show you this one as well. So various connections have been made between violence and autism within social narratives. According to public opinion, violent behaviour is common for autistic individuals, but evidence does not support autism spectrum disorder as a predisposition to delinquency or crime. So that's from Wikipedia. So that's interesting. So I think people tend to think maybe, I think people who don't understand autism, maybe if they've never met anyone who's got autism, got nobody in their family with autism, they wouldn't understand, and maybe they're scared of it. People are a bit scared of mental illness. I've got to hold my own hand up to that. You know, unpredictability can be scary, can't it? If you don't know someone very well, like once you know someone and you get to know their behaviour and you can predict what they're going to do, that's different. But you know, I tell you, take my hat off to mental health professionals. Like one of my students, she's a mental health nurse, you know, a community nurse who goes around the community. She was attacked by one patient, but she's gone back to work now and she's back in it again. You know, that's quite scary, because the unpredictability of going into people's homes as well. You know, you're going into someone's home, and if they, you know, I don't know, whatever's triggered them, that she's had one bad experience. Most of the time she doesn't have that experience, but she did have an experience where she was attacked by a client and she had to, you know, have some time off, but she's back out doing it all again now. And good for her. You know, these people are heroes, aren't they? Because, you know, mental health needs people like that to sort of be community nurses and that. But I couldn't do it. I'd be absolutely honest, I could not do it. I'd be terrified going into someone's house, anyone's house, whether they've got mental health issues or not. Don't like, when I first started teaching, I used to go to people's houses to do the classes. Oh, I've had some terrible experiences. They're in my book, in Confessions of a Spanish Teacher. Oh my God, you never know what you're walking into when you go to someone's house, even if it's just to teach Spanish. Never mind if you're going for a mental health appointment. You know, so, you know, hats off to people who do that, because to me that's brave. It's scary going into someone's house. And you know, I've walked in, people have been drunk or they've had an argument. It's all been going on. People having domestic disputes. Oh God, you know, because when you go to someone's house to teach Spanish, they feel, I think I was more of a counsellor than a Spanish teacher. You know, they'd end up telling me their life story and all their problems and what's going on with their husband, and they're having an affair with another man, or, oh God, you know, not for me anymore. I don't go to anyone's house to do classes anymore. So people either come to the classroom, or, to be honest, most of it is Zoom classes now. So yeah. Yeah, we don't know his past since the Children in Need. Yeah, he might have been in trouble ever since, for all we know. I don't know if that'll ever come out, or well, it will come out eventually, but I don't know when. About whatever he's been up to since then. Supposedly he was expelled from school, wasn't he, for carrying a knife? But again, we haven't had official confirmation of that. We've only, that's just something somebody said on social media. So we've got to be careful about those kind of things, haven't we? But I do feel for his family, because they'll be having to come to terms with that. And at the end of the day, he's still their son. So there you go. All right, let's just have a look at what's happening with the protests. As I say, I don't know if I want to really look at this, but the looters target Sainsbury's store in Manchester. See, these people, they don't care about those 3 girls. They're just there for a jolly, just there to, looting. And then there's a Liverpool police treated for suspected broken jaw and broken nose. Dear me. Oh my God. Yeah. Just peaceful protesters. Oh my God. I wish they'd stop hijacking that flag. Anyway, I think that's enough of that. It's too depressing. Oh, Katrina, yeah, you have got to be courageous in the face of, well, you had a lot of problems, didn't you, with your, without going into any details, I know you had some. I hope it's all a bit better for you now. Shouldn't be like that. People should be able to go out and not have to worry about riots. But anyway, curfews, that'll be the next thing. I think if it rains, it'll all be okay. Just people go mad when it's hot. Honestly, it's something. It's like it must do something to the blood or something. There's always more crime when it's hot, isn't there? And that, it's just something. Well, I suppose just for the fact if it was storming and, peeing down with rain, they won't be able to be out there like that, would they? But maybe that's got something to do with it. And then it's just, hopefully it'll start raining soon and that'll dampen them all down. Good. Yeah, maybe it is a full moon. I don't see how it's the police's own fault if they got their jaw broke, Seffi. You know what makes about all those people that were saying, when the police sort of stamped on that Muslim guy's head at the Manchester airport, and everyone was saying, oh yeah, he deserved it and everything. And now apparently it's okay to break a police person's jaw. Apparently it's their own fault, according to Seffi. Oh, dear me. Dear me. Oh, God. Well, I'll tell you what, if you've ever got a problem, the first person you're going to ring is the police. That mob won't be coming to help you if you need somebody to help you. If you're getting attacked or you've been robbed or whatever is going on, someone you love goes missing, it won't be them that will be helping you out. It will be the police. Police aren't perfect, I know that, but at the end of the day, they're doing a job that, those thugs, they couldn't do that job. They're probably not working, half of them, You know, get a job, get to work. What are you doing out there? You know, just jumping on the bandwagon and rioting and frightening people and looting shops. Get a job. You know, do something constructive. Would you ring me? I'd help you. Admit, I'd help you out. I would. Might be a long way away, but I could tell you what to do. I'd probably say ring the police. Ring the police. That's what I'd say. But don't ask Seffi. Because did you see the guy with the swastika tattoo? You know, they're all out, everyone's like, oh no, they're just peaceful protests. Half of them have got swastikas tattooed on them. And they were lobbing bricks at the police and setting fire to buildings. I don't, honest to God, how is that a peaceful protest? Anyway, never mind. Okay, so I'm going. But I'll be back tomorrow. So I just wanted to show you that because it really is something that I think about quite a lot. You know, because you know, I cover true crime cases, but also I watch a lot of true crime videos. God, if anyone Googled my search history, I'd probably get arrested. But it just what happened? You know, what happens to the children? You know, that everyone was a child once. You know, even the worst people in society. And not all of them had terrible upbringings. It doesn't seem like this boy's had a terrible upbringing, because that's the other thing they always blame it on, don't they? Oh, well, you know, it was they were abused, or this happened, or that happened. But a lot of people, that's an insult to people that survive those kind of things. They don't turn out, you know, going and stabbing a load of children. So, you know, what is it? It's not to do with background, I don't think, because there's some kids that come from terrible backgrounds and turn out really well and do fantastic things, and other kids that come from privileged backgrounds that end up doing terrible things. So it does make me wonder, is it something that's just in them, just some sort of, I don't know, something lacking? I know, yeah, what about the childless crazy cat ladies? But we do peaceful protests. Did you see the Grands against, what was it, Nanas against fascism? I don't know if that was Liverpool or Hartlepool or Sunderland or one of these places. And it was Nans against fascism. So all the nanas were out with their placards. Oh yeah, don't mention him. Okay, so I will see you the weekend. It's the weekend. They needed something to do at the weekend. Did you see that, Lady Maria? Yeah. Okay, sorry, I know I keep saying I'm going and then I don't go. So thanks for watching this with me. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Be careful if you're in any of those areas, especially. Just be glad to see the end of it all. And of course, this is the boy, isn't it, that really, he sort of started it all in a way, hasn't he? You know, what possessed him? Or was he possessed? Because there's probably some of you out there who maybe agree with me. I do think people get possessed. I think he was possessed, definitely. But, you know, there's evil out there in this world. Anyway, I'll see you really soon in the next video. Let's finish with the picture of the girls rather than him. And, yeah. So prayers for the families of BB, Alice and Elsie. Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.